Hi. This week we are working on our ReadMe document. We have done the work. We've gone all the way through some self-awareness exercises, some emotional maturity exercises, and last week we checked our biases. So we're going to take all of that information and we're going to compile it into a ReadMe document. But first, what is a ReadMe document? It's a fun document that gives you a how-to instructions on how to interact with somebody. The reason why I think they're important for teams to do is they give a really nice framework for successful interactions. So the first part of a ReadMe document is the mission statement. So I'm going to have you break your mission statement down into a simple formula. The first part is to, and what is your main impact? So what are you trying to do here? What is the big picture of what you're trying to accomplish? By being. And you're going to enter your character traits here. So what strengths or character trait are you going to use to accomplish your main impact? So that, and here's your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why is this important to you? And why should anybody care? Now we're going to write the About Me section of the ReadMe document. I really want this to be a quick, light, fun-loving blurb about you. You can include some boring facts if you'd like as a fun twist. But it's really just an overview of who you are, where you come from, and what you do. We're going to go into deeper things a little bit later in the document, so that About Me should just be kind of like a headliner, a few lines maybe. After the About Me section, we're going to go into our preferred modes of contact. So how do people read your calendar? Do you like to be on Slack? Do you like email? Do you like text message? Do you like phone calls? Do you want people to set up meetings with you? What are the parameters in which people should try and contact you where? The more framework that you can give here, the more likely people are to follow through with it. So if you're like, hey, hit me up on Slack, I'm always there, that's the easiest way to get a hold of me, cool, that's really clear and concise. If you have frameworks of when to reach out on Slack versus when to create an email, this is also important to put here. For example, if it's a quick question that I can just respond to, hit me up on Slack. If it's something that we need a documented chain on and we're trying to keep a history, send me an email. That's a really clear and concise way that gives somebody a framework to know how and when to contact you about what. Okay, now we're thinking about what are our preferred working styles. So do you have any work preferences that are super important for you in your environment? Do you need very specific things in your environment to create success for you? What does that look like? What does that mean? It could be you really like alone time, or you really like the ability to whiteboard with a team. And how can you create that in a remote environment and get buy-in from people who may or may not feel the same way? Other options here are, do you prefer to have somebody send you an email to get your attention? Do you want a phone call? Do you like when people just stop by your desk? If that's something that's even possible. Make sure that you are, again, clear and direct with what you want here. This is kind of a wish list of how you want to work. It doesn't mean that we always get what we want, but it allows people to know what our preferred working environment is. So then we're going to move on to the other two sections, which are what fires me up and what drains me. So what motivates you? When do you get in the flow? What is your zone of genius and just your absolute happy place at work? Talk about that. Talk about what drains you. Do you find meetings very draining? Do you find meetings in which they're actively asking for buy-in draining? Do you need a little bit more time to think about things? Really thinking about, again, the environment and what creates success for you or what you already know takes away from you. Do you find creating process and procedure draining? Cool. Does that fire you up? Also cool. Understanding who we have on our team and the operational zones of genius that we have on our team really allow us to create the environment that people can work in their happy place most often. If you don't know what your happy place is and you don't know what the happy place of your team is, how can you create that environment for them?